Okay guys, so this is going out to specifically TCKs. Sorry to everybody else. Hopefully this is not becoming annoying, but it's just the fact of life for me. I'm here to suggest that there is something that we do that other people find extremely annoying, but we can liken it to something that some of you may actually understand. First of all, either we can pretend that you start out as an infant with a blank piece of paper and you are required to make a map of all of the cultural experiences that you will come in contact with, and all of the groups of people and what is acceptable in those groups, and you're basically building a picture for yourself so that when you go from California to Georgia, you have something in place in Georgia that tells you what to do now that you're not in California. It's a different culture, different people, different groups of cultures. You need that roadmap, and you're unconsciously creating it on a daily basis. This is specifically for a couple of you guys who have mentioned that your friends or your family are frustrated by your constant need to know and to understand. This may be specific to you. It may be specific to someone who is a control freak, like you're afraid you are, and they say you are. Or it may simply be the fact that you are a TCK, since you guys are. Either you're creating a roadmap, or you can look at it as cultural study. I grew up on a mission field, and it was part of my parents' job to do culture study, where you literally move into a location and you spend hours and hours and hours every day with the native peoples, learning what they eat and how they eat and what's socially acceptable and what's not, and how you say something and what their idiomatic expressions are, etc., etc., etc. Basically, they learn language and culture simultaneously. And once you understand a group of people, you can understand how to help them. And that's basically what we're doing. Not necessarily to help this group of people, but to help us survive in this group of people. We're basically immigrants, but not. So we came into this culture and we're having to learn to fit in, but we don't have really any particular culture to base it off of. So, for instance, a lot of American missionaries will go to another country, let's say, for instance, Venezuela, and they go into a tribe, let's say the Hoti, and they'll say, oh, well, the Hoti people say this. Now, to an American, this is what that would mean. This is the American version of that expression. Well, I am a nobody going into the Hoti, and they have an expression, and so I learn the expression. And when I go home, people say, oh, well, how do they say this? And I'm like, I have absolutely no idea, because I learned an expression, but I don't know what the American version is because I'm not American, and I didn't automatically associate another version with theirs. It was just what you said. It's just what that meant. In a lot of ways, it's the same way that you learn a language this way, where you don't learn Spanish as it compares to English. You learn Spanish as if it's Spanish, and you just speak it. And a lot of times you have no idea why you needed to say that, but that's what you're supposed to say, and so you do. It's just automatic. It's reflexive. So that's kind of a rabbit trail. But the point being, you need to know and you need to understand, because you're making a map and you're basically going into a group, a culture that is not yours, and a lot of people unfortunately expect it to be yours. So that's like me moving into the Hoti tribe and the Hoti saying, oh, you're one of us, you know, we expect you to operate as one of us, and if you mess up, then you're banned from the village, you know. I'm not an American, but I'm not a Hoti. So what am I? So you're in a situation, most likely, where you are expected to be them, and you're not. And you're busy trying to create a roadmap so you can at least pretend to be them, so that you can kind of fit in. And the more you get to know people, the deeper it has to go, and the more you actually have to ask questions instead of simply observing, because now you've reached the level where you need to understand abstract concepts and not just concrete ones. So when you need to understand an abstract concept, you need someone to explain it to you as best as they can. So now you're to the place where you have to ask questions all the time, and people are getting annoyed because you're always asking questions and it's never enough. They just don't understand the core principle, which is, for you, this is your sanity. This is how you understand the world around you. It's how you translate it. It's how you interpret it. You have to know and understand. It is a driving force for you. And unfortunately, it's actually difficult to describe this to someone who hasn't felt it and doesn't experience it. I can say the words, but they're not necessarily going to hear what I've said. So I don't really know what to tell you. I'm really just here to say I think I understand what you're going through, and hang in there. And I don't think, I know you guys personally, so I don't think that you're actually control freaks. I think what's actually happening is that you are attempting to understand this culture, and in the process, you're being a little bit fanatical because you feel that it affects your security and stability, which are some of the most important things to a TCK, because you don't know and you don't understand. So this is affecting you personally, therefore you're becoming slightly fanatical. So that's my talk on that. It's longer today. If you're really interested, I'm sure you'll watch it. Otherwise, I'll put a disclaimer in the description so you'll know it's a TLDR for those of you on Reddit. Alright, love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.